Meeting is called to order at 6 o'clock. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We are being broadcast live over Van Buren Township Channel 12 and on YouTube. Clerk Wright, would you please take the roll?
Yes, trustee Kelly.
Here.
Trustee Boyd.
Here.
Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Frazier.
Here.
The clerk is present. Treasurer Wood.
Here.
Supervisor.
Here.
We have one.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Today's agenda consists of our consent agenda, which is our meeting minutes, prepaid list, our basic bills like electric and heat. But we're also going to be making an approval for the appointment of Stacy English and Mark Woodson to our Recreation Committee. We thank them for their service for doing that, but it's unanimously by the board, so we're not going to go through a big deal about it. We're also having approval of the appointment of Gina Drozga to the LDFA, and we have an approval of the redesignation of Charles LaRoe. He's going from the alternate BCA member to become a regular BCA member. New business today includes discussion on the community center, our community center's member and guest policy handbook, discussion on the community center's employee manual, discussion on a resolution regarding an updated community center fee schedule, discussion on a resolution for the DNR passport grant, Van Buren Parks Picnic Table Program. We got another grant. Discussion of the selection of VinCon for a demolition project at Van Buren Park. And discussion on the personal service agreement for William Miner to be taken on the position of water and sewer superintendent for its approval. We'll further have discussion on an agreement with Michigan State Housing Development Authority. We have got a grant for an award for doing a housing readiness incentive grant. We also have discussion on the donation of a road right-of-way we're giving to Wayne County to make the Denton Bridge project happen. And we're having a discussion on the preliminary plan and special land use request for revision to the Cobblestone Creek PRD. public rights, how they're gonna build out. So that's the executive summary. We're now on to adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
Through the chair.
Trustee Flanagan,
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Support.
trustee Frazier. Is there any discussion on the adoption of the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted. Next item is the consent agenda. Who would like to make the motion and read out the consent? Treasurer Wright. Treasurer Wright, excuse me, clerk Wright.
I take that. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, consist of the board minute meetings of March 6th to 2024, prepaid list of March 7th, 2024, prepaid list of March 14th, 2024, voucher list of March 19th, 2024, approval of appointment of Stacy English and Mark Woodson to the Recreation Committee with a term to expire February 1st, 2025. And also I'd like to be acknowledged because I see both of them are here. Approval of the appointment of Gina Durazio to the LDFA for a term to expire August 1st, 2024. Approval of the designation of Charles Lawaki, is that right? Lawaki, appointment to BZA form alternate to standard at large number of term to expire December 1st, 2024.
I support with the correction of Gina DeRaggio's approval term to expire August 1st, 2025, and the board meeting minutes of March the 5th of 2024.
So those are corrections?
No, he just read off the
I
roll.
read it wrong?
No. All right, thank you.
Hey, it'll be here,
All right, so, we have a motion by clerk Wright, supported by trustee Boynton. Is there any other discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? This motion passes. I want, is Mark Woodson here? I know Stacy's here. Stacy English, could you come up, and Mark, could you come up? Let us say thank you for joining us, and, it's no, we just like time to give. Thank you. Come on up here. Yeah, that's it. It's nice because our boards are actually filling up again, so that's really nice. We got some volunteers. Good. Long-standing residents. I mean, Stacy, I think we've got her down for 3 generations. You don't need to stick around because it could be a long, dull day. All right, public hearings. We have no public hearings today. Correspondence, announcements, and presentations. Is there anybody that wants to make a correspondence, announcement, or presentation?
Hi. This is from the South Huron Valley Utility Authority, which we are a part of, along with Brownstown Township, Huron Township, Black Rock, Gibraltar, South Rockwood, and Woodhaven. This is a grant for $959,752 for improvements to the South Huron Valley wastewater treatment plant, which means they are going to put in new pump stations. They'll be able to put in a gate. They're going to be able to do some interior equipment, including new AV computers, wastewater, and maintenance tools. And they're going to replace all of the HVA vacuum equipment so that it will prevent corrosion and protect personal safety. So we get a part of that because we are part of this, and so that's a big thing for us. That would hurt our budget if we all didn't pay. So it's very good.
All right, great. Clerk Wright?
Sadly, I have to announce the passing of Carl McClanahan, Public Safety Director here from 2000. What years was it? 12. I don't exactly have the exact dates of the years, but we all know who he is, and we sad announcement is we have to announce that. I do have some details here that I just received. Reading will be March 28th, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Jeter Funeral Home, 8436 West Chicago Avenue. And the funeral will be at New Hope Church, 33640 Michigan Avenue, Wayne, Michigan, 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the family hour. The funeral is starting at 11 a.m. sharp. Intimate, cemetery and intimate directly after Chapel of Memorial Gardens, 48300 Road, Wisconsin Township, Michigan. And intimate will be on Johnny on the right directly after the term.
Thank
Do
you.
we have a, yes, do we have a moment out? Thank you.
Trustee Brunson.
Yes, I don't know if this is actually the correct time to do this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. As far as on the agenda, we have the, new member and guest policy handbook for the Van Buren Township Community Center, the employee manual and the fee schedule. Just to give accolades to the authors of such. I had a time to read them, read them pretty well, especially the guest policy handbook and employee manual, and whoever was involved in the writing of those. In my past life, I've spent many a day writing these things for various organizations. Excellent job. That's all I have to say. Excellent job. I'm going to go over them again, but that is top-notch work. We truly have an extremely talented group of directors and supervisors and managers and frontline employees here at the township. It's an excellent job. Excellent job.
Yeah, any other? I don't know if I should do this just because we have the Carl's. It means a lot to this community, he really did, and he really had a pulse of what was going on. His my friend was, they made a real power couple. They're solely going to be missed. They have been missed as they had to leave. They left the community to go to Florida, but we'll certainly send a contingent from Van Buren Township to the funeral. All right, moving on, we're down to public comment. Today, is there anybody from the public that wishes to make comment on anything that's going to be happening today? Anybody from the public that wishes to make comment?
I will be.
Okay, come on up. Over here? Yes, please, yeah, otherwise they can't hear you online or on TV.
My name is Wayne Cherry. I'm the neighborhood coordinator for Whole Road Neighborhood Watch. I want to comment on agenda number 9 on the consider the preliminary land special land grant for Cobblestone Creek Plan Community. My issue with that, we just went through a drain board meeting this month, and their retention ponds can't hold the water now, and they're gonna add more. And then those retention ponds are gonna flood over into our drain, the back of our property, and they're gonna have to be dug out. It's gonna cost millions of dollars. They can't handle the water that they have now. So I would oppose adding more houses until those retention ponds are fixed.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about that when we get to that line item, but okay, that was exactly what you should have done, so us think about that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? No, we're moving on then. First, finished business, we have none. First item is new business. The discussion on to consider approval of the Van Buren Township Community Center member and guest policy handbook. Through the chair. Yes.
I move to consider approval of the Van Buren Township Community Center
Member and guest policy handbook.
Support.
Okay. All right, go ahead, directors.
Good evening, Board. The Community Services team has multiple items to present to you this evening for approval that are all related, so Director Renaud and I are kind of tag teaming at the podium tonight. The first one up, as mentioned, being the BBC Member Policy Manual.
Good evening, Board. The Community Services staff team has been diligently working to develop the BBC Member and Guest Policy Handbook for about the last year. This has been a monumental group effort, many site visits, many interviews with other municipal community centers to ensure that we're developing the best policies to keep our new centers safe, accessible, and welcoming to our community. The handbook will be provided to all guests and members of the BBC to ensure that they're well informed about our township's policies and guidelines. The handbook covers general policies such as hours of operation, holiday schedules, membership classifications, facility rental policies, room rules, child watch policies, and more. After we open, there will most likely be a need to do updates to the handbook. We plan on bringing it back to the board for review and approval on an annual basis. I won't bore you with the 27 pages of policies, but we would be happy to answer any questions about them.
I'm going to give you the only controversial thing in this policy is that it actually takes the power away from the board to make policy except for when it comes back for review. The reason being is that we've never done this before, and we can't wait 3 months, 6 months, a year to get policy changes. And I mean, it'd be minor, it'd be things like, we didn't realize that we need to make a policy about wiping down equipment, which we have. And instead of waiting for 2 months while we went through the court system, we make that policy. This thing allows us to make that policy change immediately. And then at the annual review, you guys would get yellow line that this was made during the year. The board has the capability at any time though to step in and say, no, we didn't like that change. And stop it, because you are the board, you have that power. So I just want to make sure you understand that that is the one thing in here that's a little bit different, because we don't know how to do it otherwise. We would stop, go all day.
I guess I would always fully ask that when you do change, make a change, that you notify the board. And then, you know, if it's all right, it's all right, and if there's a big problem, then we can talk about it, otherwise, so whatever we.
Sure. Okay. Well, you want to go over some of the highlights? This thing's got hours of operation in it, things like that. How could you go through some of those highlights, hours of operation?
Absolutely. So the hours of operation that are proposed, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 8 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 2 p.m. The holiday hour schedule, it's a little bit different than the township schedule. The main differences being the holidays. Many of the observed dates that the township follows, we're actually following the actual holiday. So for example, Christmas Day is the actual day of Christmas and not the observed day. But they're all listed out. We made sure to include things like Good Friday and the day after Thanksgiving. Those Fridays that the township wouldn't be open, but we would be, since we're a 7-day operation. Is there any specific policies that the board would like me to go over?
No, I know that I saw the notes, this Sherry, I think I saw something from Leon, and I never saw somebody yell it out and marked up manuals. I mean, we really tore through this thing with a very vigor, and it's a beautiful document. It really is great. Very comprehensive. Yeah. All right. Okay, so no other discussion. My pen went out. Trustee Kelly. So I have a motion by trustee.
Supervisor,
Yes.
Tammy's correcting me. I think I misspoke on the hours. Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 8 to 6, and Sunday, 9 to 2.
Got it.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that's on the record.
Thank you. I have a motion by trustee Kelly, and I have support by Trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next item, discussion on to consider approval of Danbury Township, Community Center's employee manual. Doctors, can I get a motion first?
Through the chair,
Kelly?
I move to consider approval of the Van Buren Township Community Center employee manual.
Support.
You got the winch over there? All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Board. Our team created these additional policies that you have before you to cover items that are specific to the BBC and may be slightly different or not currently covered in the existing township employee policy handbook, which is why they require board approval. If approved, the additional policies will be incorporated into the existing document for onboarding the new employees. So now, just a little side note, as you may have noticed, Director Renaud and myself are dressed a little more casual for this board meeting. It's not because we're going to kickboxing after this, it's because we have the pleasure of unveiling for you tonight the new BBC staff uniforms. The black pants, polo shirt, and black jacket. Director Renaud is modeling the black polo shirt, and I am wearing the electric blue. The staff will have a choice on colors, or they can get both. As listed in the manual, athletic shoes are required because of our specialty flooring that we have over there. However, glitter tennis shoes are optional. We'd be happy to answer any questions on the employee policies that you have.
We want you to strut around a little.
I'll let Tammy do that.
How to take her jacket off and get it off.
I will not be there.
Still,
You're flirting, yeah.
I have that effect.
does anybody have any questions on this? I mean, I've done this to my eye bleed, so. Okay, all right. All right, so I have a motion by trustee Kelly, supported by trustee Boynton. I have no further discussion, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Do we have you again?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Discuss, yeah, thank you, George.
I make a motion and, because I'm taking the advice of my fellow trustees here. I haven't read the complete manual, but it looks great from the outside, so. To consider approval of resolution 2024-03, updated 2024 Van Buren Community Center, better known as the DVC fee schedule. Support.
Okay. I've got a motion of support for directors.
Right, so as part of the 2024 budget process last year, the Board of Trustees approved the original BBC fee schedule. Since then, as we've developed the policy guide, a few proposed updates have been made. We have not touched the membership, which was the piece that was approved by the board. But we did add some additional items. We added fees for Child Watch memberships, an annual, monthly, and drop-in option, in addition to lost key tag fees and facility day pass fees. The other big update that we made was adding the facility rental fees. So we're able to start building out our online system in preparation of our grand opening in June. Many hours of research went into this by our team on the development of the fees. We spent a lot of time looking at surrounding communities. It's really our mission to ensure that our rental spaces are accessible, affordable, and attractive for our community members. So we wanted to make sure that was reflected in the fees. Any questions?
I'd just like to say thank you for doing such a thorough job.
These are really, really low. That's right. Any further questions? No? All right, I have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by trustee Marchand. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, number 4, Consider approval of resolution with the DNR.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve the resolution 2024-02, Michigan Department of Natural Resources Recreation Passport Grant, Van Buren Park Picnic Table Program of 2025.
Go ahead. Director Locke, could you go ahead?
Good evening, board. So the Parks Department has been looking at doing a gradual replacement of all the picnic tables in our park pavilions. A lot of the tables have exceeded their normal lifespan. Many of the tables are getting damaged, surfaces are getting rough. For example, the tables at Quirk Park, they're metal tables with plastic coating. A lot of that coating is starting to wear away. Many of the tables are losing their aesthetic appeal. So this year, we are planning to replace the tables at Quirk Park. We recently obtained a partial grant from M Parks Foundation, which will help offset some of the costs for the tables at Quirk. And right now, we are looking at, for next year, replacing the tables at Van Buren Park. I'm currently finishing up a grant application for the 2024 Recreation Passport Grant in the amount of $46,800. This grant money would be used to pay for all the picnic tables at all three pavilions. Without the grant, the profits for this purchase of the tables would have to be spread over 2 or 3 years. So make one pavilion at a time. The total cost of the tables is around $63,000. So the remainder of the purchase cost, which would be $16,600, would be paid out of our capital outlay for 2025, as required by the grant program, which has a minimum of a 25% cash match for doing this. In order to be more environmentally conscious, I've researched and found tables that are made from 100% recycled HDPE plastic. This plastic is a lot more durable, lightweight. It's more friendly for cleaning purposes. Nothing will get into the ground. One real nice thing about this product is once it goes past its lifespan, the company will buy back and recycle it. The table is 100% recyclable, as well as being made out of 100% recycled plastic. So it's very environmentally friendly program. So another thing too is that this will allow us to move some of the older tables that are in decent condition out into the open areas of our park, specifically Van Buren. We have a lot of open spaces there. And during the summer months, especially the weekends, when the pavilions are all booked, which a lot of our pavilions are already booked for this year as well, there aren't as many tables available for people who just want to come to the park and enjoy a day to themselves. So this will allow us extra tables to get out into the parks. So right now, we are asking that you approve a resolution to support the program, which is one of the requirements of the grant.
Yeah, correct. You mentioned lightweight. They're not too light, or they won't be going.
No, so it's made of a strong molecular structure. It makes it very durable. It's lightweight, but it's real strong. And also another thing I failed to mention, a lot of our tables are just standard designs. So depending on certain people's abilities, where you sit in the table, especially in the middle of the tables, it's hard to get into. These tables are designed for easy access. So it's accessible basically for people of all physical conditions and ages. And along with that, we also will be getting ADA approved tables to go along with standard tables.
So this is for so you're asking for a resolution of this board supporting your application for grant?
Correct, yes.
And this will be for this year or next year?
It'll be for next year. The grant would be approved they approve all or award all the grants at the end of the year. So this will be for the year 2025.
All right. Great. I didn't know about this one, so thanks for the surprise. Any other questions? Kind of pausing, because Boynton made that, didn't he? Yeah. All right, well, what kind of motion by John Boynton, trustee Boynton, and supported by you? Clerk Wright. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Pause. Didn't get back. So, item number 5, discussion on to consider approval of the selection of VinCon for the Bayberry Park structure demolition. Can I get a motion to here? Trustee Kelly.
Move to consider approval of the selection of Incom Incorporated for the Van Buren Park Structure Demolition Project for 22,800 dollars.
Support.
Director Locke.
Thank you again. So we are looking to do a demolition of several structures at Van Buren Park. This includes remnants of an old trash bin that is behind the park's maintenance service garage. There's a former concession building that is in the pavilion section of the park that has no longer been in use and is basically a home now for mice. There's a former storage garage also in that same pavilion section that is completely run down and is unusable. It is now a home for animals as well. We have a former electrical service panel that was along our saddle roadway. The power was removed from all that, so it's just a small structure that's being removed out. In the back section here, the beach house, there's a foundation of what was, I was told, the former camp that used to be there with a shower facility. So what's remaining there is a large cement base leading to a drainage area for the showers. Also in the back area near in that same section of the bathrooms and leading to the beach house area are around 95 to 100 in-ground holes. They range anywhere from coming out maybe a foot out of the ground to 2 or 3 feet. They're staggered. It was part of the old campground designated along the roadway there. So a lot of these structures are a safety concern. Out of date, animals are getting into things. So removal of these structures will not only provide a safer area, but will also open up space in the park and allow for future development. So on February 13th of this year, an RFP was issued requesting bids for the project. March 5th, we opened bids from 13 different contractors. These bids range from anywhere from $19,750 up to $79,400. The low bid for this project was rejected due to the contractor's inexperienced demolition work. So we're moved to the next bid and are recommending that you approve the VinCon with a contracted amount of $22,800. VinCon Incorporated provided an impressive list of references for prior demolition work and several of the communities around here. We have Vincent Howard here from VinCon, and he's available to anyone on the board if any questions.
You're gonna take everything off the site, right?
Everything will be demolished and ground will be leveled. There's going to be the areas that require it to be reseeded. So
That's a question you yourself. I say, oh,
Okay, so the area behind that garage I'm looking at, no, that's not gonna be done. They're still gonna have a slab back there that overlooks the old dock area. That's going out too. All right. There was some, that's where people were dumping poles and debris.
about this behind you talking about behind the service garage.
No,
Oh, okay.
yes, yeah, there's an area I didn't even know existed, so I kind of got lost.
The two
two now off-road ramps. Yeah,
Yes.
that is not part of this project.
That is not?
No.
Okay, all right. Look at it. Okay, all right. I'm sorry, so if you have any questions, sorry. I thought we were, all right. I have a motion by, was by, who? Oh, Kelly, and supported by who? But, my pen died. So, hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks. Next item is, thank you. Next item is discussion and consider approval of, William Miners personal service agreement. Director. Yes, thank you, go ahead, Bert.
I make a motion to consider approval of William Minor, for the agreement for the position of superintendent of water and sewer, whereas, otherwise, supervisor, McNamara, and for the right to execute the agreement.
Board.
All right.
Before. Tonight, I would like to introduce you to William. He prefers to go by Bill. This is a candidate that was finally chosen to fill the vacancy for the superintendent of water and sewer. He recently retired from Allen Park a few weeks ago as the deputy director, a title that he strived diligently up the ranks to receive. And he left there with 25 years. Leading comes naturally to him as he served in the U.S. Marine Corps as a corporal for 4 years. All right, so he knows from experience when you work in the field side by side with your team, you understand what it takes to get the job done. He feels he has a lot more to give, so he's not really ready to retire. His skills and abilities in leadership also comes with other professional experiences, such as problem solving, excellent communication, and fantastic management. He holds an S3 certification, belongs to several associations, and he has contacts that will follow him and lend a hand no matter where he is employed. With that, I ask for the board to approve William Miner's personal service agreement, and I will take any questions that you may have at this time.
Any questions?
I think I did ask. I kind of answered, but he will eventually get his S1.
Yes,
Because that is one.
yes, it is.
No, the whole team should be really happy that you're coming on board. Yeah,
I hope you know what you're getting into.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by Trustee Boynton. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Did you come up and shake each other's hands? Did you give us one shot? Welcome aboard.
I want the guy.
Okay. Next item, number 7, discussion on consider approval of agreement between Van Buren Township and the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. Mr. Martin.
Make a motion to consider approval of an agreement between Van Buren Township and the Michigan State Housing Development Authority for the award of a housing readiness incentive grant.
Support.
Director Higgers.
Good evening, board. January 2024, the state initiated a grant program called the Housing Readiness Incentive Program. This grant's stated purpose was to help communities implement actions that encourage increased housing supply and affordability. In January, the township submitted a proposal to update our master plan by furthering our existing goal of encouraging missing middle housing types. The scope of work under this grant included analysis of our existing housing inventory, a market study to determine what housing needs are in the township, and to have recommendations provided and zoning language drafted to accomplish those recommendations. The grant was formally awarded in February, and we are provided with a draft agreement to accept the grant. The total of the award is $45,000, with the township providing a $5,000 match. We are currently in contact with McKenna Associates, and we'll be bringing a proposal to complete the scope work when it is available. And this agreement was also reviewed by our township attorney and was found to be acceptable. So thank you, board, for your consideration of this request, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Through the chair. Trustee Martin. I'd just like to say I'm happy to see we get this mission grant for housing incentives. As you may or may not know, housing is a problem not only throughout Michigan, the lack of affordable housing, not only in Michigan, but throughout the country. And I think that getting this grant will allow us to pursue ways to remedy this problem and to bring what I call a missing middle housing to Van Buren Township. So I appreciate this grant, and I hope that there's a lot of other federal money available too, so I hope that we pursue other grants.
This study will not only help us identify those problems, it'll help us to, as a framework, basically, we need to do this data to go get more money. Hearing no further questions, I have a motion by trustee Martin, it's supported by trustee Boyce. No further questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item is discussion and to consider approval of a donation of a right-of-way to Wayne County for the Denton Bridge.
Through the chair, I move that we approve of the donation of a right-of-way to Wayne County for the Denton Road Bridge project.
Support.
Okay. Director Akers.
Thank you. So with the Denton Road Bridge project, we are in the stage of the project. We are working with various utilities that are located on the bridge to design and complete their necessary work. One concern that has been identified is the limited right-of-way area available for some of the utilities in the area to the north and south of the Denton Road Bridge. So there are two utilities that are located on the bridge. There is a DTE-owned 3-inch high-pressure gas main. There's also an AT&T fiber line. Both utilities have indicated their plans to bore new lines underneath the lake, with DTE boring gas main on the north side and AT&T boring a new fiber line on the south side. There is concern that there will not be sufficient right-of-way to provide enough clearance between the two new utility lines and the coffer dams needed for the piers to be, concrete piers to be bored if the bridge is under construction. In order to allow for more space, we are proposing to dedicate an additional 10 feet of right-of-way on both sides of the bridge to Wayne County. Van Buren Township owns the bottom land on the other side of the bridge, and due to this, we have the ability to dedicate the additional area required for the utilities. Both utility lines are proposed to be directionally bored underneath the lake and will not have any significant impacts for this area. Both utilities will be subject to EGLE permitting and environmental review if they are within 10 feet of the bottom of the lake bed. This area would be dedicated as Wayne County road right-of-way, and due to this, the utilities would be legally able to be installed there. In the review of the Denton Road Bridge project, which we did receive an EGLE permit a few weeks ago, EGLE had indicated that the roadway would be unable to occupy any additional bottomland area above the lake. Due to this, it would be very unlikely that the road or the area of the roadway would be able to be expanded in the future and occupy those areas of the lake. Thank you for your consideration of this request, and I am available to answer any more questions.
Any questions on this right away? No? Okay, so because it has to be done, give us, I know we have new updates, because I've got some in the email today. So, go ahead.
So,
give an update on the Denton Road Bridge, please.
So the township has formally submitted the drawings of the Denton Road Bridge to Wayne County today. Those were sent over. There's going to be a period of time that the county has to review it, and if there's any adjustments that need to be made, they'll ask us to make them, and that's planned in. So our obligation with regards to that has been met. We've successfully designed the bridge and submitted it to Wayne County.
And got all the permits.
And we got all the permits. So at the stage that we're at right now, a in addition to the design documents, we are preparing bridge renderings, and we should have them within a week or so. And at the time that we receive them, we'll make sure that they're sent out to everybody and available to the public. So we're working with the two utility companies to design and implement their projects. We do not have a definitive timeline from either utility company as of yet. They're still working through their preliminary design proceedings for how they're going to bore under the lake and what permitting they're going to need to require and what they're actually able to do. But we have had correspondence with AT&T, who has told us that they will be able to accomplish their portion of the project by July of this year. And we're meeting with DTE every 2 weeks to address their project, and hopefully we'll be getting a more detailed update on what the timeline is soon. So in those meetings with DTE, it's representatives of the township, Wayne County, we have the city manager for the city of Belleville participates, DTE's contractor, Waitrim, who's doing the design work. So we're meeting every 2 weeks, making sure we stay on top of everything to make sure that things move forward. As far as scheduling is concerned, as I had said, DTE hasn't given us a specific schedule as of yet. They have told us that they anticipate that the directional boring of the gas main will start sometime mid-late summer and should complete by the end of this year. So when we have and I'm hoping, because we're meeting with them tomorrow morning, hoping that I get some more information, but when we receive a specific time by the DTE, we'll release it and we should have no information on how everything plays out. But as of right now, we're trying to continue to work with DTE to nail down specifics. But we have satisfied all of our obligations with regards to environmental permitting and design. We actually beat some of the original projections that we said we were going to do in February of last year. I think we originally targeted, I think it was April 1st or May 1st. We submitted everything beforehand and got that addressed. But that's currently where we're at as far as the bridge project.
And I have to add that every 2 weeks we've met with Lake County. And they know everything intimately that's gone on with us. They've given their weekly updates on what they want to change and what they want added. So although they do have to do a review of the project, this review could be the shortest review in history because they've been every 2 weeks going along, seeing exactly what we're doing, making recommendations and such like that.
I will say Ali Al-Jawad, who's in charge of bridge engineering for the county, has been fantastic. I talked to him on the phone more times than I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks. He's always answered calls from our bridge engineer to push back, to help us with questions. They've really been working with us every step of the way. They've been fantastic.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So we have right of way for Wayne County for the Dan Road Bridge, and we have no further questions, correct? All right, no further questions. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item, number 9, discussion to consider approval of a preliminary plan and special land use approval for Cobblestone Creek planned residential development. To the chair, there. Good.
I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of preliminary plan and special land use approval for the revisions for the Cobblestone Creek Plan Residential Development PRD by David Roth of M/I Homes of Michigan LLC.
Or
Director, could you go through this and then at the end I will remind Mr. Akers and you both standing up and addressing the drain issue that was just approved by Wayne County.
Certainly. Thank you, board. The request before you tonight is pertaining to a modification to what's called a Plan Residential Development Agreement and Plan Residential Development Plan, or PRD agreement, PRD plan for the Cobblestone Creek project, which is a 154 detached unit, and I forget the exact number of attached unit, but it's a combined residential project on the east side of Hoff Road, southwest Yarn River Drive, in the southwest corner of the township that was first approved in 2005. The request before you tonight involves the introduction of a new builder, at My Homes of Michigan LLC. We have David Straub representing that company here tonight, who can also answer any questions. But what's before you tonight is basically an effort to finish up the construction of the detached single-family homes on lots that were approved years ago for that project area. One of our zoning ordinance requirements that was in place in 2005 and has been recently modified is that with a project that's developed in this manner as a site condominium, there's a requirement that 30% of the units have side entry or rear entry oriented garage doors. The intention with that being kind of an aesthetic purpose to make sure that there's not a wall of homes that have those intrusive garage doors on a street frontage. And what you have here is that the bulk of the project, the 154 units, have already been constructed primarily by Boji Builders. And what we're seeing is that there's been a wide variety of units, but there would have to be a concentration of side and rear entry garage doors in the units that are remaining in phase 3 here, which is 69 remaining home sites. And so the request by Mr. Straub is to take that set of the homes and get close to that 30% side entry requirement with what's left. But it would leave a gap in the overall project number because there was a deficiency in the phase 1 portion in terms of side entry garages. Mr. Straub has proposed a variety of home sites that meet a variety of architectural requirements. There's a lot of architectural variety, different features on all the home models that have been proposed. And these models have been extensively reviewed by our planning commission, as Treasurer Budd can attest. And there are a number of things that stand out with these models that will distinguish them from each other, provide some architectural interest, and make up for some of the intention that was there with the zoning ordinance that was in place years ago with a 30% garage door requirement, while still having 21 of the 69 remaining units be side entry garage doors. And so what this all goes back to is that the entire project was approved under an original PRD agreement and plan. And to modify a PRD agreement, there's a two-step process, both with you on the board and with the planning commission. There first has to be a recommendation for a special land use approval to modify or to propose a new project of this nature. And that's the request before you tonight, is the special approval of the modified PRD project. At a later date, this plan, if approved tonight, will go back to the planning commission for an additional recommendation on a final version of the modified PRD agreement and the modified PRD plan. We'll come back for another vote at a later date after we've gone through additional planning commission review and reviewed by the township attorney. The planning commission had a public hearing on this on February 28th and did recommend conditional approval of the special approval. And the action before you again is that special approval. If you'd like, I can also address Mr. Cherry's comments at this time, or we can wait until, if you want to go back to the drain comment after you.
I think we need to address it.
So, yeah, I did want to pull up a map. So, and I've been a little bit involved with this, and I know that Director Akers has stayed involved as well. But this is a portion of the township where there are some drain issues that have occurred with the Jewett drain, which is a drain right here. So here's Huron River Drive. We're on the west end of the south portion of the township here off the road. This drain is the Jewett drain. It feeds into the Throop drain, which then empties into the Huron River. There have been instances, as with other drains in the area, with related flooding and high water tables and or high drain issues. Because of those, this has gone before Wayne County's drain office for consideration for assessment for the drain. There was a hearing at the end of February, was that a board of determination hearing? So the board of determination hearing was held at the Wayne County Community College District at the Ted Scott campus. And what would happen is that this assessment that could occur would affect not just the Cobblestone Creek project here, but Cobblestone Ridge, Pine Forest, the timbers over here off of Elwell Road potentially. There's a lot of land in this area, all of which the properties within that district could be affected. And there's a calculation that may come into play with the county to apply improvements over that drainage district to improve the situation for all the property owners. And I don't think we have a calculation from the county at this point on the exact cost, but that is something that is being worked on the side with the county right now. So certainly related to this project, but it's not of course, the request before the board tonight. Yeah.
So the board of the drain commission process to clean out the county drain. So the residents who live within a certain drainage district have to file a petition. They filed a petition that because of that, the county looked at that stretch of the drain. They did that board of determination. The whole point of the board of determination is to ultimately determine if they need to do a project to make sure that the drain operates efficiently or not. At that meeting, they did determine that that a project was needed to clean the drain out. So they're moving forward with doing a design, and then there's a process that they have to follow through the drain code to be able to implement it. They did say that the project was not going to occur this year, and they were unable to provide a timeline for when that drain comes. Just to follow the process.
You say unable to provide a time?
They did not provide a timeline, no. So they would have to design the project and bid it out. And I know, at least with Wayne County, there are a number of other petition projects all around the county that still need to get accomplished as well. So I'm not sure when they would be doing that.
Okay, so I have no problem making the proposal to pass this resolution. For the special, limited right and special land use, because I know I had to go back to the planning commission and back to us again, but I would like to see the problem resolved when they come back, when you arrive back to us. I think it's important, I want to see that subdivision completed, but we want to make sure it's completed correctly, because I know the issues you can have if you have your retention pond, it's not operating correctly. As we all know, I'm the president of the Mine Association, and the retention pond is very vital to the upkeep of the flooding of each home in that area. So I would agree with them. Homeowner, that is an important piece of getting this piece corrected and passed when it comes back, because we don't want to see that. We don't want to see flooding that magnitude in that area, but I know if the retention bonds are not working correctly, it will happen.
Mr. Martin, I have two questions. First question is, what is the detention pond plan for that development, and is the completion of this development intention on getting those drains cleaned out? So what would happen in the interim that these homes are built, we get heavy rain, and then what's the plan?
Yeah, so if I can, through the chair, tag along with Trustee Martin. I am somewhat familiar with the drainage issue on the south side there from Cobblestone Creek and Mission Point, heading all the way east over to the Huron River, up into Lower Huron Park. So that encompasses, like I said, Mission Point, Cobblestone Creek, the timbers, the business through downtown Belleville, Victoria Park, Arlene Arbors, Country Walk, Country Pond, Wild Brook, and other homeowners, down along in that area there. In Country Walk, I can say, I've been beating the drum constantly as far as making sure that all of our owned groundwater, areas are as clean as possible as they're heading out of our areas into the, county drains. We all know and understand that the county is, somewhat behind, I will say, in making sure that, their drains are cleared out. But I do know, and I have had them say that they're not going to do too much until we know that ours are cleared out as well. The detention ponds are very, very, important. We need to make sure that they are cleared out, and then to also, even though if a subdivision is a little slow in being completed, the detention ponds are created at a depth to be able to handle whatever homes are designed to go in there. So if it's designed with 500 homes and only 250 have been built, it's still, the pond is still designed to hold the amount of homes that is designed to go into that area, whether they're there now or not. Again, I do know that, the current weather, patterns we've seen, that doesn't seem like it's actually what's happening, but, that is the way that they're designed. But we do need to make sure that we have all of our detention ponds taken care of, in the meantime, while this goes before the county, and the county does their study. They see that all the subdivisions are working in one accord in making sure that their areas are cleared, and then they will have no other recourse other than to say, okay, all of these subdivisions have all this stuff cleared out. We have documentation saying all this stuff is cleared out. We have to clear out our areas. If I haven't traveled too much on what you said,
Let's come back to Trustee Martin.
I'm in full support of what you said. I'm in full support of what you said.
Trustee Martin, could you re-ask the question?
The question was, are the detention ponds that are currently, going to be used, are they adequate enough? And, are building these homes contingent on the drains being cleaned out by the county? And also I add a third thing to that, while thinking about it. When they do the final grade on these properties, that maybe they should take some special consideration into to make sure that it flows away from the homes that they're building to eliminate those having problems, and then the county can address their drain issues then. But I think that the final grade on these properties have a lot to do with,
So there's two elements to the stormwater story thing, I guess, with this property. There's the drain, and then there's the internal stormwater system that Trustee Gordon was referencing. So Director Lawrence has been in communication, and I've been as well, with the homeowners association, talking with them about different ways that you can get your stormwater, not just your detention pond, but also the pipes in your development and the manhole structures and catch basins evaluated and maintained. The subdivisions was installed about 20 years ago, or a little over 20 years ago. So because of that, there may be some maintenance aspects that need to be accomplished on subdivisions, and that's not something that I know. But as it was indicated, that could be an element of this, and it's something that needs to be reviewed by the homeowners association and so we've already started having those conversations with them. Actually, it was members of the homeowners association board that filed a petition with the county for the drain project. So So that's one element that I know we're actively discussing right now. Did I answer all of your questions? I know one question with the house and the building department, when you install a new house, you're required to slope the water away from the foundation, so that's always checked. They always, give us a final grade certificate whenever they get a C of O for a house, they get a certificate from the surveyor that says, you know, the lot's been graded properly, so those are things that we check for. And I apologize, did I answer the second?
I think there was one more. The part was, where the building up contingent on the drain issue being resolved, or they gonna go ahead with the.
Yeah, I can answer that. So, I kind of want to zoom out. This is kind of a slow moving, ongoing project, which I think Trustee Boyne referred to. Some of these projects have taken a while to complete, and this is no exception. But this project has had building permits kind of incrementally pulled and has been built out over the series of the past 20 years. It is kind of an ongoing construction project. The primary builder changed hands, but the reason for saying that is the reason that this came before the planning commission and is before the board of trustees is more of a layout and architectural issue, more so than an engineering capacity issue, because it really pertains to the requirement that the number of side entry oriented garages and proposing an alternate to having that minimum number of side entry oriented garages. So the reason the request is being funneled through our planning commission board is kind of that architectural issue. So that being said, it's kind of an ongoing project otherwise that is on the original capacity of the ponds that were proposed years ago. These ponds were designed in 2005 to accommodate the anticipated drainage provided by the roofs and the paved surfaces in the project site. So it's relying on that original design. And so it's got longstanding county permits for the stormwater system and things that it's meant to be continuing to be built on, that this approval really won't affect. But that being said, I know that these drain issues were something that the builder, the previous builder, and I believe Mr. Straub have been closely paying attention to. I know that when these sites were mass graded recently, and they were, in some cases, the elevation of the sites themselves was raised to the fact that there is a higher water table. There's a need to provide more positive drainage for building sites. So there are some design items that are being addressed to promote that positive drainage. Sites, stormwater that is appropriately. Otherwise, however, it is kind of a long running approval based on the original design of the project.
I have questions, based on trustee Martin's questions. So the design was approved 20 years ago. It hasn't had to go back for reapproval. And since then, we have the homeowners association that is petitioning the county to put a tax on the homeowners association to clear their drains. So what's wrong? Why is the homeowners association asking for the drain to be cleaned out? Obviously, they're getting flooded, right?
There's kind of a outside the project element where there's probably more systemic drain cleanout that has to happen outside of, in the Jewett drain outside of the project boundary. That's affecting the upstream and the ability for the site's detention basin to drain out properly. That being said, there may also be issues inside of the development, but I think the primary issue is the overall obstructions.
So we don't, maybe we should ask the developer, is this a new section? Or are we talking about the old section that's screwed up and causing it? Because I mean, I see multiple retention ponds.
Yeah, right. So, and I believe the drainage broadly, these areas discharge to this basin. There's discharge to this basin, this basin. Here's the Jewett drain on the south end.
And which basin is the one that's not draining?
specific one of those three ponds that has more issues than the other.
If I may, I think what Dan is referring to is that the three retention ponds that are in the photograph, those are, if it's set up the same way, those are maintained and possibly owned by the HOA.
Yeah, so why are the HOA saying these things aren't draining?
No, hold on. Those three ponds are owned by the HOA. The HOA has responsibility for those. The Jewett drain is the county drain. So the HOA's ponds are draining into the county drain. The county drain is where the question lies. So the HOA is,
Okay, but the HOA,
the HOA is requesting to Wayne County for Wayne County to clear out their drain.
and you know what Wayne County does that? Wayne County tracks the amount of money that it costs to clean out the drains and then charges it back to the residents, which would be Mr. Cherry, fan of the crew, and the HOA. They're the ones that are gonna pay for the Jewett drain to be cleaned out.
Now, how is that? Because over where we are,
No, I'm saying with you too.
we told them our drains are clear. The pipes underneath our streets are clear.
That's your
That's
responsibility.
going in, okay, so it goes from there into the county drain.
Which is your responsibility also.
How?
Because you look at your tax bill, I bet you've been getting taxed that you didn't even know. I guarantee you there's a tax on it that says a drain. They haven't got a drain. I guarantee it.
It's always been that. Right? It's always been.
I know, so they're charging.
Well, they're not charging you per specific, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, they're not charging you per specific cleaning for a particular drain. It's a countywide tax on all the drain systems. Because our subdivision, we have to petition the county to have our, part of the McClory drain cleaned because our pond wouldn't drain.
So I won't answer it. I'll let the director answer it. I know that that's wrong. You paid for that. You paid for it and I didn't. It was on your tax bill, not mine.
So the county is broken up into a series of drainage districts, and the drain code has certain limitations to how much money per linear mile of drain the county is able to charge to those drainage districts. There's two ways where that amount of money can be exceeded. Either the municipality can pass a resolution. There are all municipalities who are on a particular drain, pass a resolution authorizing the county to exceed it to a certain spending amount. Or the individual property owners within that district file a petition with the county to do a special project, which would exceed
Your
that.
HOA or this HOA.
So certain member, I'm not sure who did it, but I understand members of the Cobblestone Creek HOA filed a petition with the county to determine if a project was needed along that stretch, which would exceed that amount. And the board determination found that it did.
Who paid for it? That's what he wants to know, is who paid for it. He thinks it got paid by Wayne County residents across the board. It
You know, it pays for, it gets paid by the property owners within that, within that drainage district, and then also a chunk of it gets paid by the township.
So that's what this what Mr. Cherry is concerned about. Is are we building, I should ask you, does anybody consider the retention ponds? You approved the building. Do we consider the retention ponds at that time at all?
I mean, we always look at what the retention ponds are gonna do and how they're gonna handle the water for that area.
So when the development is initially installed, the detention ponds are designed and intended to be sized to whatever the standard was at the time.
So my point is that HOA is saying that they're not working, and they're asking Wayne County, knowing that they're gonna get it on their taxes, to clean out the drains. And now we're expanding the runoff points.
Mr. Chair, versus paying for it or versus having a property flood, I think that's something that they probably need to do. I don't know how much they charge or what the rate is, but something has to be done because how many subdivisions, the ponds don't drain adequately. I know the one in mine doesn't drain adequately.
So. Board, if I may try to shed some light on some of that. There could be two different sets of issues. There could be improperly maintained or improperly drained ponds or ponds that are not sized adequately, which would be a design issue regarding the ponds. Or there could be a more downstream issue of the overall draining network where the obstructions downstream, these ponds are all eventually making their way to the Jewett drain. If there's a series of obstructions downstream, these could be perfectly holding the capacity of all the water that's generated during a rain event and draining the sites away, but they could be backed up because of something happening downstream.
Just to say, you can easily determine that when it rains, when you get a substantial rain, if they're holding water, then you got a problem down the drain.
Well, and would,
If it's a detention pond,
The detention pond, then
retention pond, then it's,
detention pond, then
It
it
should be-
depends on how water evaporates out. It's a retention pond,
yeah,
retention pond will hold water and then drain. I'm sure that almost this detention pond is designed to hold the water longer, and the water, goes out into the ground.
Which one is it?
But we say, oh, that's country walk, yes. Both types of pond, which are gonna be straight.
I have other questions that, well, I don't want this to go away. I really want you to build here, but I've got residents and it makes it really, I have a difficult problem with local people saying that they're flooding now and asking the county to expand the drain, and then we're building. Are we building on a new retention system, or is this an old retention system that we're tying into?
It's an old retention system that we're tying into, but I'm not sure that the problem is the retention system itself.
Or the Jewett drain?
I think we're asking for the drain to be cleaned, not the detention, because it's for that whole area. It's everybody up and down Elwell Road that,
But if that builds another 100 homes, and that's 100, so one gonna probably flood out until the Jewett drain's cleaned out, or two are gonna flood out the other houses because you're gonna have more drainage now, coming off those roofs and front areas.
well, technically that shouldn't happen, because when the subdivision was determined, our engineers approved the plan, because we have specifications as to how much land someone that's built homes can release into a system. The problem comes, Wayne County hasn't cleaned their drains for years, and people have paid for drains that have never been cleaned.
So do you wanna keep on building on that drain?
It's not their system that's wrong, it's the county. We have to get county out there and get their drains cleaned. It's not the guy that's got the property, that's not his problem. He has built to what our engineers and Wayne County has approved. Because it's approved by the county, it's approved by us. Fortunately, the county has not held up their end and kept their drains clean.
Through the chair, I think.
And that's happening all over the township, because their drains are not clean.
Trustee Martin?
I think the scope of this, motion doesn't address that, and it's just to, approve a special land use. We had a discussion because it was raised by a resident. And I think the scope of our motion that we are voting on is to approve the special land use, revisions to the PRD.
that's why I said it's on the table. That's why I made the motion to approve, just because it's not the final approval. I would like I said, when it comes back, I'd like to see some results on how we're gonna rectify the problem. I think that I agree with Trustee Bud, it's not our problem. I think the pond's probably drained, and I think it's a drain problem, so it sounds like we need to put additional pressure on Wayne County to clean the drain. Otherwise, we're gonna continue to have a problem.
We have two residents that have been really wanting to talk and have been nice and quite frankly, come on up. I know you guys represent a lot of people.
Okay, you guys don't know my background, some of you do. I built the boardroom, I worked for a contractor. I worked for 7 different contractors in the state of Michigan, and I built retention ponds, I built subdivisions for Biddy, for Compo Brothers, for Davenport Brothers. Okay, I know the formula. Every acre of land there, when for 1 inch of rain is 27,185 gallons of water. 1 inch of rain per acre. Got 114 acres right here. Okay, these ponds are supposed to hold that amount of water for it to hold, not flood, but to hold, and the maximum orifice that they can put into the Jewett drain is 6 inches. A 6-inch diameter. You can put a 47-foot pipe down the middle of it, but the most you can dump in that Jewett drain is to a 6-inch orifice per state law. Okay? So if their neighborhood is flooding, it has nothing to do with the Jewett drain. The Jewett drain is supposed to collect what water comes out of the retention ponds and comes off of my farmland. Okay, not a housing section over on the whole other road that they're dumping the water in my neighborhood. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? You're right. Otherwise.
Sounds like they might need another retention now.
It is all because of the. Little drain.
Through the chair.
Yes,
If the drain is working and the water is flowing, no water's gonna move, and it's gonna drain.
yeah, it's,
Eventually, it's gonna drain, it's not gonna, it shouldn't,
it'll drain, but it'll.
it shouldn't take it 2 or 3 weeks to drain either. I don't,
That changes my, okay, all right.
but once again, the scope of our motion doesn't have anything to do with the ponds or the drainage.
You're a wise man. We are voting on the plan residential development, channel adjustment for approval, special land use. Which we, doesn't have anything to do with that, you're right.
One question was not answered, I'm sorry to interrupt. The one question he asked first was, does this development depend on the drain being cleaned out? So if this project takes 10 years to get the drain cleaned out, are you gonna go ahead and build all these other houses in the meantime?
Yes.
And where is that water going?
With 6-inch pipes, we could build everything out with 6-inch pipe, because you can't drain, it won't drain that fast, will it? I mean,
It's gonna flood the neighborhood.
the neighbors, goes, it could, you know, the concern's gonna be the neighborhood.
So if it doesn't.
And the engineers say they've got to keep it, are you with them? I don't,
Yes.
okay. And the engineers say that this has been approved by Wayne County and our engineers. All right, I'm actually ready to vote now for it. All right, does anybody have any other discussion? All right, we have a motion. We have no further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, I get it, sorry. Next item is reports, we have none. Next item after that is public comment for non-agenda items. Anybody from the public wishes to speak? No? Any board comments for non-agenda items? I do have one. Our seniors went somewhere to take on a trivia battle against our northern neighbors from, I think, Northville and Plymouth and Canton. Am I right? Westland? Okay. And they won. So they won the trivia battle. Yes, that's huge. And they're all very proud. And the winning answer was Peter Parker. What newspaper did he work for?
Any view.
You knew that.
I did not know it, I heard when they said it.
Okay. That's all I have. Anything else? Can I get a motion for adjournment? Moved, supported, all in favor?